Something new on the desk today. Something I've never worked on. I guess we'll just kind of wing it. It's LG's final ultra-strange phone, the Wing. The bottom display still works, but we need more than that to actually use the phone. I'm also interested in trying the gimbal camera mode. I'm a big fan of stability. Let's take a look at what cool engineering is going on inside this glass brick. Some normal heat and prying is all it took to get the back glass off this weirdly thick phone. Inside we have 9 regular Android flagship size Phillips screws that secure the mid-frame to the back. You also get a peek at the long folded selfie camera ribbon. I'd almost forgot this had a pop-up selfie camera. A very Samsung-like mid-frame and wireless coil can be pulled away, revealing some pretty neat looking internals. You know what we're after though. The important task of disconnecting the battery comes first. This cool ribbon here is an extension for the display, proximity, and fingerprint sensor. I need to be careful with this. I have a replacement display, but not a replacement extension. There are no board screws holding this PCB in place. With everything disconnected, it can be lifted up and away from the housing. This gives us an unobstructed look at the selfie camera and stepper motor, along with a dedicated SIM daughter board. To get any further, we have 6 large Phillips screws holding in the swiveling hinge. Getting it off, however, was a bit tricky. Thanks to some help from my internet pal, it turns out it works kind of like a hotel door chain lock where the bolt can be removed in one particular spot. Finally, this thing was free. He also pointed out this adorable hydraulic dampener, not something you normally find in a phone. The main body is kind of interesting, with its Game Boy SP style screen on the bottom. The weirdly shaped glass at the top is glass, and doesn't do anything other than create the illusion you've got a full display underneath. 9 black Phillips screws hold the hinge to the display panel. Now would be a good time to tell you that keeping a screw map might be necessary. Under the hinge, I'll disconnect the display ribbon from the bottom. The signal is transferred here through this board that connects to the long floppy display ribbon we disconnected at the 1-minute mark in this video. There's also this teeny tiny connector to the right. It runs to the in-screen fingerprint scanner. We'll get a look at it in a moment. Then the tiny connector at the top runs to the proximity sensor. Over to the heating mat, the replacement part I have is the display only, no frame, so I need to peel this glass off. I decided to do something different and try out piano wire to separate the display. This proved less than efficient, and I ended up using a thin metal pry tool. With the OLED and glass removed, we get a nice view of this weirdly angled fingerprint scanner. It is a decent size and plays pretty nicely on the display. Up top there's an itty bitty proximity sensor. Kinda weird if you talk on the phone with the display open, but I don't know why we would. I'll get this new display adhered to the frame and ready to reassemble. Definitely be careful with this extension ribbon, and don't forget the white plastic shield like I did the first time. Overall, I think this phone is no harder to repair than a typical Samsung or Motorola device. It just has a few extra screws and steps involved. I'm not sure getting this one repaired is quite worth it, given that LG isn't going to keep making devices and parts are becoming more and more limited. On the other side of that coin, it would be nice to have a fully working unit for antiquity's sake in the future. I've got a collection of all the phones I've used growing up, and I think it's nice to have mementos. This phone is working well, even if the wallpaper was a less than modest photo of something that I can't show on YouTube, nor would you want me to. The gimbal camera mode is pretty neat, kinda gimmicky, but definitely an innovative use of the hardware. The selfie camera might be my favorite thing though. All phones should have a pop-up selfie camera. There have been little to no issues with them failing even years later. They take up almost no space, especially with logic boards shrinking each year, and they just look cool. In any case, thanks for joining me. If you're interested in seeing a Note 7 teardown, drop a comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.